All right, well, today we are finally going to be fixing up my admittedly very neglected property here. So I bought this house about 3 years ago now, and my biggest goal with buying the house was having a shop at the house. That was really the biggest thing. That was my biggest justification for buying a house, because it would cost less in a mortgage than it would be to rent somewhere to live and a shop, and especially a place to store my trailer. So it's kind of an all-in-one deal. That was my biggest focus. Cars are my life, my passion, you know, they're my job, they're everything. So that was the focus, was the shop. And we put a lot of time into the shop side of things. You know, there was a building here when I moved in that my plan was to close in. We couldn't really get that done through permitting, so we ended up tearing it down and building a new building, but it's pretty well sorted. We've got a couple big projects left to do. We need to build a loft in the back. We've got some material to build a rear overhang here for storage for vehicles, some gravel. There's still more we want to do, but it's a fully functioning shop with all the things we need. We can work out of it, no problem. So it's time to move our attention back to the property, which during the whole shop building process, that took precedent, and everything else here got neglected, more or less. So as you can see, my grass is dying. I mean, in Florida, it's hot in the summer and it will just cook your grass instantly. So we've got tons of bald spots, and you know, I can tell I'm getting older when I want to take pride in my lawn, but I haven't put the effort in to take pride in it. But you know, we've got some spots where the grass is good, other spots where it's not. You know, we've got this kind of planter area. A lot of the stuff is just withering away. I mean, you can see this thing, not very happy. This was a rose bush, but it's just falling over into the driveway and all the rose petals are gone. There's constantly weeds growing up through here, and just a lot of this stuff is underwater. You know, we got tree branches that have fallen down, gotten mixed with everything. It's been neglected. That's the simplest way to put it. I've spent all my time focused on the shop and working in the shop, and the rest of it has gotten pushed to the wayside until now. It's finally kind of at that boiling point where it's bothering me enough to where I want to take care of it. And I know it's going to be a very, very satisfying transformation to get this all fixed up and back to the way it was when I moved in here, or maybe even better. You know, we have done some work to the property. We put fences up here for the dogs, so they have kind of a nice area to play in. We put this fence up back here. This one was already here, but the dogs playing has absolutely demolished the backyard. I mean, this whole area at one point in time had grass. At one point, this area was very lively with grass. I remember it when I came to look at the house, loving how green this backyard was with all the trees, and yeah, not so much anymore. Not so much now. So it's time to fix it. Now, fortunately, this place does have an irrigation system, and it's actually set up pretty well because the house itself is on city water, but the irrigation system and the shop faucet water is all off the well. So they had a well here originally. The people I bought this house from were the people who built the house, and they lived in it up until I bought it. So they started out with a well, but then decided to put in city water, but made sure to keep all the high water usage stuff off the well. Now the problem is, we've got a big variety of sprinklers going on. You know, we've got some newer style sprinklers, we've got some older style sprinklers, and we've got some broken sprinklers, but that is not our biggest problem. If that was just the problem, I could probably put this off for another couple of years. The problem is we can't even turn the well on to give them water because we have a major leak. So we have a leak coming from underneath the driveway. It comes up right in this crack right here. This is the low point. And you can see it bubbling up to the surface. It started out as a slow leak, and then it got to the point where it'll make a puddle in about an hour. So we have to fix it, because if I let that continue to leak, it will erode the ground underneath the driveway, and then the driveway could start to fall apart. So we don't want that. So I've had the well off for a long time, just relying on rainwater, which this time of year, it's almost enough. But when you have a hot day like this and you don't have any rain for the next couple of days, the grass just gets fried. So before we can make the grass better, before we can fix our vegetation, we need to fix our irrigation. We need to be able to get them water. So that's where we're gonna start. Step one is gonna be to dig up this pipe. Now, I'm not exactly sure where it is. I imagine it's somewhere close to this crack because how quickly it comes up through, but we're just gonna have to dig until we find it. So yeah, this needs to get done, and it will be very, very rewarding when this is all said and done. So I'm gonna quit jibber jabbering and start digging. Okay, well, this one gets connected from over there. I thought this one got connected from over here. So we probably need to move to the other side to find where this mysterious pipe is. right, the well is on. Got this sprinkler dug up as well. There is another sprinkler over here, and we cannot find it. That's what this stake was for. It has been lost to the sands of time, apparently. It's somewhere around here. We'll find it. Okay, so that's zone 2.
It's got a little trickle.
Yeah, it's like not really doing much. I mean, this one's working okay. Okay, so that's this one, and I saw one spraying over here, but it seems buried too. Oh yeah, it's buried. Is that one just broken? Well, we know we need to dig in there. Let me go switch zones. You see anything? Ooh, that one's actually doing something now. All right, this is zone 4. Might be the backyard. Oh,
There it is.
I told you it was here. He didn't believe me.
Got him.
I told you it was here.
I believed you, dude.
You didn't believe me.
I believed you.
Oh, Sway thought I was crazy.
You saw me poking around. Why would I be poking around? Definitely believed you. I just wasn't sure. Here we go. Boom.
Okay, cool. So this is gonna be 5. And I don't think there is a zone 6.
It looks like it's just kind of feeling the bushes.
And this one's not doing much. Yeah, those seem to be working pretty good. We might not need to replace those.
There was a bunch up here.
There were?
On, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the last zone. Because there is also this one, but it's broken. And this one you turn on manually with a valve. But we've got one broken there. All right, well, now we just got to figure out where this dang pipe is. Oh, yep, see, it's wet right there. Just like, where is it coming from? You know, we dug this up.
Far down. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where it'd be going. This one, 90s. I think this one comes from around the back of the shop.
So we started digging back on both sides of the driveway to see if we could determine where this pipe was coming in and coming out. We wanted to just kind of dig back as much as we could in different areas without going too crazy. We don't want to dig up the whole yard, but we've got to figure this out, figure out the routing of this, and determine where this pipe goes. So we dug up the hidden sprinkler to see where it routed from, and we're just trying to get a picture of how this system's laid out.
All right, well, we have dug back most of the sprinklers, so Sway's working on digging this one back now. I mean, we dug down here. That's not a pipe. That's for my internet running from the house. We dug this all the way down here. Haven't found anything yet. You can see the water coming up right here. This is the problem that shut down our system. So there's a pipe under here somewhere. I just really hope it doesn't come from over there somewhere and come long ways, because that's going to be nearly impossible to replace. But we're basically just going through each one, and we're going to replace all of the heads anyway, so we're just digging them back enough to kind of figure out where the system routing goes, where it comes from, all of that. So like this one you can see here, this one's hard mounted, so we'll raise that up some. And then we found a broken pipe here, definitely not helping our cause, so we're gonna fix that. This is one of these weird can sprinklers. We'll probably just leave it, but might not replace that one. But yeah, we got this one. This one got broken off when we tore down the old shop building, but you can see it's not even tight or sealed, so that was probably leaking. But you can see the main pipe here, and it goes this way, and then it goes back this way with this sprinkler, which definitely needs to be replaced. So we went and got all the supplies we need. We're going to be changing up a lot of these. Some of these are soft mounted, some of them are hard mounted, but you really want the sprinklers soft mounted to the hard pipe, right? If it's solid all the way through, it's going to be very easy to break that main pipe. So down the rabbit hole we go. we are going to be switching it all to this swing pipe. So the last little bit to the sprinkler will be this flexible pipe, so that way if the sprinkler gets kicked or moved in any way, this can flex, this has some give, and it doesn't just break the brittle PVC. So we got some PVC to fix those issues. We got these sprinklers for the front area with all the vegetation, and then we got a bunch of just replacement pop-ups, some long range ones for a couple of areas. and then a whole bunch of joints and fittings and all the little things we need.
So we were digging back all of the sprinklers because we needed to get in there to get to the pipes to replace them with soft line and replace the heads and all that stuff anyway. So they needed to get dug back. But we were also trying to kind of piece together what the routing is on this. We have no clue. There's no diagram. There's no nothing. We have to figure this out as we go. So we were kind of getting more questions than answers as we dug back each sprinkler. So we decided to go to the source. This is where the water comes out of the well through the backflow valve and then gets distributed out. So we find two pipes. One is coming from this control valve and one is underneath that. It's not going through the valve. So there's a couple of options here. This could be our feed for the shop only and the valve is just for that zone, or this could be the main feed to the system and that valve is to turn water on or off to the whole system. So we find where the pipe turns and it tees. It goes forward to a sprinkler and then goes down the side of the shop. So now we need to figure out, where does the other pipe go? There's another pipe under. It keeps going straight, it looks like. So we decided to dig this sprinkler way back and try to see where it joined. We're trying to see if that pipe comes under the driveway and directly ties into this sprinkler in this area. That would make sense if that's where it goes, but the further we dug, the less we found. More questions, less answers.
All right, well, in typical Florida fashion, it's been raining, but we dug up the backflow valve here. So basically it comes in here, got this backflow valve. I've got it turned off right now. It comes here. This is a manual valve to turn on just this zone, just this front area here. That's the only thing it controls. I don't know why it's on a manual valve, but it is right there. Boom. The other one, this is the main sprinkler control valve for the system. This pipe goes this way, then hooks a left and goes that way. There's this other pipe under here that's not part of the valve, and the way it's angled, it looks like it goes kind of right through where we've got our leak coming up. It would make a lot of sense because this house originally was on the well and then was converted to city water. So there had to have been originally a pipe running from the well to the house, and the entry point for the water is right here. So it would make sense that it would come to right here. So what we're gonna do is go ahead, cut that pipe, cap it, turn the water back on and see if that fixes our problem. Again, the difficulty here is not having any sort of diagram as to how this stuff's routed. The only way to figure it out is to dig it up.
So doing this project with having to deal with the rain makes it a little bit tricky because we had these dug up nicely, but then the rain washed all the dirt and mud right back in. But I basically cleared as much room as I needed. I've got these push-on caps, so this isn't a big deal. I don't need to glue anything. I just need to cut it, pop each cap on, and then test it out.
All right, well, the mystery remains. Cutting this pipe, none of the other zones work. So this pipe is just zone 1. And then I imagine this one goes and daisy chains off to feed the rest of them. So we've got to splice a piece of pipe back in. We do know for sure that with this valve off, the leak doesn't happen. So it means our leak has to be after this valve, which these are the 3 pipes coming out. Still, the mystery remains. What the hell is leaking under the driveway? We'll figure it out. What we're gonna do is go back to our plan. Well, we're going to fix this pipe, and then we're going to go back to our plan of just fixing and replacing all of the sprinklers we have, and then see where we're at.
So the first order of business is to fix this pipe that I wrongfully capped. Hey, it was a diagnostic procedure. We had to do what we had to do. So we get the area cleaned up to give us some room to work for gluing in the new section, get it cut back, and then cut our patch piece. So this is kind of tricky because this has to be short enough to where you can slide the couplers in, get it in place, and then slide them back out. But you want to make sure you've got good engagement into each side of the coupler. You don't want it only in there by, an 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. So it's a little tricky to get the size right, but other than that, it's pretty easy. Just primer it, glue it, stick it together, move on to the next one. So we get the main feed pipe patched up that goes around the shop, and then we can start working on replacing these sprinklers. Now, as I mentioned, we want to convert all of these to soft line. The way this one was set up, we didn't have the right fittings to completely convert it, but we were able to squeeze a little soft line in there somewhere to help.
All right, another one bites the dust.
So we just got working our way around the shop. Now this one at the front has been driving me nuts for years. The fact that it's a different sprinkler, it's sticking up so far. It's always annoying when I'm trying to weed eat this area, as you can see by how long it is. I wanted to get that one replaced and then we could go back in our clockwise orientation. Now this other one is kind of a 2 birds 1 stone situation. We're replacing it, adding the soft line, etc. But we also needed to move it anyway because we're eventually going to put a pad or at least gravel back here with our overhang, and it was going to be tucked tucked up underneath it and not be able to do anything. So that one kind of worked out. It made it a little more enjoyable to do, knowing that it kind of serves two purposes, digging up that big hole. So then we moved to the back corner, and fortunately with this soft line, it makes this process really, really easy. You know, we're not only adding in that softness, that protection from shock for when these inevitably get ran over by a mower or something, but we're also making this process easy. I mean, you've got a lot more leeway when you've got a soft line than when you've got a bunch of hard joints. So this other one was kind of the same story. It was tucked too far behind the AC condenser, so it couldn't really spray a good portion of the yard. So we decided to kind of relocate it out a little further into the yard, so that way it had a better range to spray from. And we even moved this one back a little bit because it was always a little too far towards the corner. So we're trying to not only fix this stuff and add in this soft line protection and all that good stuff, but we're trying to, you know, do some things I've wanted to do for a while. So I got this one swapped out. I just left it as is. This pipe goes above ground because there's misters, and got it set. You know, basically you can set the range, how far it's going to rotate, and where it starts and stops, so that way we're not spraying all over the driveway. That's something that's always driven me nuts about sprinklers, especially here.
All right, last one is installed. Last one for right this second. We still have more to do. This is phase one. We're gonna get to the other ones tomorrow, but it's getting dark. We wanna test these. You can see our casualty zone. They're all the old sprinklers and piping that we replaced. So we've got our first one we changed right here. Boom, little soft hose, fixed joint there. Got this one here. Same with this one here. We moved it down because we're gonna build a lean-to off the back of the shop, so we're gonna have parking here. So at least in the meantime, until we put gravel through all here, it'll water the grass. So I guess those two are kind of useless, but they're replaced. We've got this one here. This one we wanted to relocate, but there was this valve in the way. So we teed it off this way, boom, so that way it can cover this area. This one here, which we relocated a little bit, and then this one by the shop door. So I'm gonna go set the range on that one, and then I think it's time to test it out. I would like to replace this contraption too at some point with new ones. I know this one leaks sometimes, but one rabbit hole project at a time. All right. Zone 1. I don't know which one that is. I think that was zone 2.
Oh, right here.
Oh, there's our... Oh, well, it's flooding. Oh, it goes that way. All right, switch to zone 2.
Well, that solves that
Oh,
mystery.
there we go.
There's definitely a fountain ahead after I reached in there.
Oh. Oh, man. What the hell? All right, let me go turn it off. Okay, another pipe broke. All right, we're on to zone 3. Holy, oh. Yeah, that one's ripping. That one we didn't even do. Is anything over there happening? This is 4 now. Clearly we gotta adjust the reach. Anything going on up there? Yeah? Oh, there's that one. I didn't even know that existed. Oh yeah. Okay, so we need to replace that one. So zone 4 is like the whole front yard. And this stuff. Jeez, she shoots far. So the misters in the bushes. See, these ones back here seem to be working pretty well. So that one looks good. What a weird combination. Maybe that one's on this other zone? Because that's one that just dribbles. But maybe it dribbled because that one was broken, wasn't getting any water pressure. But I'm wondering if that one, this one, are tied with those two over there because they haven't come on. So I guess we could try to put a sprinkler in there and see what that zone is. All right, here's our broken joint number 2. All right, hopefully that is the last broken pipe joint that we have to deal with. For right now, at least. I just want to verify. I believe the sprinklers on the other side of the shop should be off this same zone and the ones on the back. I think that's what's going on. That's why those on the other side did not turn on. That would make the most sense. So we'll give that a minute to dry and then give it a shot again. Same with that other far sprinkler.
At one point, oh look at that triangle. Look at that pattern right there. Ooh.
Well, we're steady finding sprinklers that have long been lost to the crabgrass. And we're steady failing. We had another breakage.
So before we called it another night, we wanted to at least dig this pipe up, see where it was, and try to get it fixed so that way in the morning everything's dried and cured and we can test this out again and hopefully have a working system. This system's basically got 2 sprinklers on it at the moment because these pipes keep breaking and none of the water is getting to them.
All right, take 1, take 2, take 3 on this irrigation line. Let's see if it holds this time. It does look like they got good pressure. This one's spraying the trees. I don't get it. That zone can't just be those 2 sprinklers. Not when the pipe comes all the way down here. It might be clogged, honestly. Well, another problem to address here. It's not leaking anymore, but I think it's clogged. It got some mud in it. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is our problem. You can see how much water is coming up through. I wonder if you can see it bubbling. You know, it's like right here. Where is it though? Where does it come from? Doesn't make sense. I mean, at least we've narrowed it down. It has to be past this valve. Has to be.
So I wanted to go ahead and finish my sprinkler replacement before we started digging into what is most definitely going to be a drastic rabbit hole of trying to finish finding this leaking pipe. I just wanted to handle this while we were here. So these pipes stick up out of the ground and they're mostly spraying all of these different plants and vegetation. So we're going with the more traditional style sprinkler. Now I wanted to mount them soft and have basically a post that they were tied to. So that way they wouldn't keep breaking. They keep breaking. I mean, you barely touch them and they break. The pipes are so old and brittle. However, I didn't have the right fittings to make it work because it's down to 1-inch pipe and there wasn't going to be a good way to do it the way I wanted to do it. So we decided to just replace as much of the pipe as we could and make sure it was really well secured. That way it didn't move around and strain itself and keep breaking itself. If this doesn't work, you know, maybe we'll dig up the pipe underground, reroute it, do soft winds, come up with different posts to hold them to. But for now, this should hold us over for a little while. So with that knocked out of the way, we could now try to figure out this mystery pipe that just does not want to stop leaking. So we did find this sprinkler that had emerged from the crabgrass, so we decided to dig it up and see where it was coming from. And we also decided to dig up the other side of the driveway where the pipe that we know feeds the rest of the sprinkler system is pointed. And we found some things, but not necessarily what we were looking for.
It's close.
Almost. Well, Sway's doing some super proper pipe bending.
I don't know if it's proper, but consulted with YouTube. Oh.
Fumbling it. All right, so Sway's working on a break we found. Let me show you the current state of affairs. Man, I thought I rabbit holed this project originally. We are deep. We are deep down the rabbit hole. So, as you can see, we've got water leaking up. It has receded some. The valve's still on, so that's interesting. Still can't find the pipe. I mean, we had already dug up this. We dug all this up. We did find 2 drainage tiles. But we dug all this up, dug that drainage tile back to there. We poked into them with the camera to make sure that they didn't, you know, put a drainage tile because it goes under the driveway and run it through that. But we know for sure this pipe feeds the rest of the irrigation system. This one feeds zone 1, or technically zone 2, but feeds this zone. This one feeds the rest. And it goes this way. When you eyeball that, looks like it would go right there. Unless they put it at 45 and went that way. But more than that, you know, that sprinkler is a dead end coming this way. We dug this one up that emerged from the depths of the crabgrass when we got the system back up and running. I didn't even know it was here, but same thing. There's a T, but it's capped, and it comes from this way, boom, boom, into here. So all the sprinklers on this side come from this way. All of the sprinklers on this side come from this way. None of them come from across the driveway. So yeah, we're gonna have to keep digging. We went to test out over here after our upgrades and found a very broken pipe. That's why Josue's been in that one. It was bent pretty weird, which is probably why it broke. So we get some new pieces he's putting in now. Just tough with the pipe being so old. You have to be so careful as you install the new parts. That looks about right. Almost too much, maybe. Good enough, though. Probably pull some bend out of it. So he's patching that. You can see just how brittle and broken all this is. Obviously, it'd be ideal to redo everything, but we're just trying to get it working. So over here, we found it was broken just up ahead of where it was broken before, and it is filled with mud. This is the pipe that I pulled out. This thing was completely full. It took me like 20 minutes to get it unclogged. And then there's this 90. It was broken before the 90 and after the 90 right in here. So I believe this is from when we tore the shop down. We had heavy equipment running through here. We dropped the walls here, so potentially hit a sprinkler and just torqued on the pipe. We're gonna try to just patch it. I do need to back flush it because this one's kind of clogged. We don't just send the clog through the pipe. And then place some new pieces, patch it all back together. I got some new 90s, so we'll basically ditch this whole piece, slice all this back together. We're plugging away at it. The goal at the moment is just to get all the sprinklers working. That's step one, is fix all the broken pipes.
Crack that valve open?
Not yet, we gotta let it dry.
Good point, sir. I mean, it's already dry.
So with the front pipe replaced, we just needed to replace this massive section of pipe that goes around the shop. This thing was broken in 3 separate places, and obviously it would be ideal to replace the whole thing, but for right now, we're just trying to get all systems working. We're trying to get all the zones working again and then go from there, so we're just gonna keep patching it.
I wish I had a really long piece and just replaced all this, but eventually we'll have the whole yard dug up at this rate. All right, test number 1 is gonna be this area. Fingers crossed, please at least this one be good. Even though I'd never turn it on. There we go. That last one's not getting much. Gotta shorten up the throw on those.
It's dribbling. I'm gonna unscrew it.
I think it's got pressure. Look at it. It's definitely got pressure. Oh, if there's junk in it. You want me to turn it off?
Yeah.
There we go. Look at that. What a beautiful sight. Never thought I'd be so happy to see sprinklers sprinkling. Oh, it is still overspraying. This one's perfect because it's just like, yeah, sweet. Another one bites dust.
That's all quick.
Yeah.
Like immediate.
Give it another minute or two and then it's time for zone 2. You can see the under driveway puddle getting bigger here. All right. Zone 2, water now. Oh, yep, there we are. I mean, water was coming out of here.
Yeah, that's what I walked. I guess you walked this way. I walked that way. There's
Oh,
uncapped too.
but
Ivan.
come on, dude.
Brother, get the shovel.
Oh, there's one there. What the hell? Whoa, look at that.
Look, a new one.
Another one. We found them. We finally have this whole zone working. Finally, all the sprinklers work. Oh my gosh. Finally. So yeah, let's look back here. So that zone is there, and basically all the way around the shop. This one's moving slow. Hurry up, get out of my way. Oh, this one's literally just spraying the trailer. Oh, shoot. This one's spraying the ground. They're not secured yet. And then we got this one. So we dug this up, and there was a T here going to this pipe, but we have no idea where it goes. So we just cut the T out. I think the T was what was pressuring it. And then there's all these little stub outs where you could add a sprinkler later if you wanted. Oh, we gotta move, we gotta move. Well, at least we accomplished that. We got all the sprinklers working. Now we just need to fix this. All right, well, we found, as they said, the hidden city, the valve control center. So that's 3 valves, 4, we're missing 1. There's gotta be another one around here somewhere. Either way, this is where we know that one pipe that we know is leaking is feeding into. So we gotta dig these back, and then we can figure out where it feeds from, and then we can trace that pipe and figure out replacing it. All right, well, this is definitely it. We've got 4 out of 5 valves here. We know the other one is over by the backflow valve, and it comes in from here. So you can see it comes in, comes up, and splits off to each and every one of these valves. See it there too. So we found our feed. It goes that way. So it definitely goes under the driveway. It's just a matter of where. Obviously somewhere around here, but we've dug up this whole other side, so I don't know. My fear is that that pipe comes and then at 90s or 45 somewhere back there and takes the long way under. I mean, absolute worst case scenario, we basically cut that pipe back there and run it all the way around the shop and then up to here. That way, at least in the future, if we have any issues, it's not under concrete. You know, when we started this project, I assumed it was just, you know, one of the zones went under there. I thought it went to that sprinkler. I was wrong. So that being said, we are most definitely out of time. This has turned into a very, very deep rabbit hole. And I really wanted to get this whole project done before I ended things. But for now, there's gonna have to be a part 2. Ideally, we'll finish the sprinklers for part 2. Plant some grass seed and see if it grows. But for now, again, we're out of time. It's been a lot of work. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We're plugging away. All of the sprinklers work. Every single one, all the zones work correctly. Everything works except for that pipe leak. All we have left to deal with is that pipe leak, and then we can put it all back together. It's like taking a dang car apart. So anyway, that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have any better suggestions on how to deal with this leaky pipe. I mean, we'll probably dig that back just to see. We'll see how we're feeling tomorrow. We'll see how we're feeling to see if we want to try to dig that back. But there's just already so many holes. Maybe I'll fill in all the individual sprinkler holes, and then that way I can dig this back without feeling bad because there's holes everywhere. Maybe that's what we'll do. But let me know. Comment below what you think. Any suggestions, any insight, let me know. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I sure hope I'll see you next time. Goodbye.